So ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining us on this special occasion as we recognize our friends and neighbors by awarding them with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. It gives me great pleasure to invite our Member of Parliament to open our ceremonies, Mr. Bradford.
Thank you very much, Michael. And just before I start my very brief formal remarks, I think we all learned something tonight. We learned that God Save the Queen has a second verse. So I learned something today too, so it just goes to show you. But wasn't that delightful? And thank you very much for sharing your beautiful singing talents with us with both of those anthems. Very much appreciated tonight. So good evening, everyone. And on behalf of His Excellency David Johnson, the Governor-General of Canada, and the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada, it is my great honour and pleasure to welcome all of you here today for the presentation of the Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee Medals to 30 very deserving members of our community. I would just like to acknowledge that we're joined tonight by the Member for Provincial Parliament of Mississauga-Streetsville, Bob Delaney, as well, and I'm glad that Bob could come and share this day with you as well. At the outset, let me just express my great personal thanks to the staff that work in my office who put this great event together. I would just like to acknowledge Farida Sagir, Mike Trace, Katrina Crocker, Sarah Nolan, who's come from our Ottawa office to be here, and especially Sunitha Miranda, who organized most of today. Thank you very much for arranging. putting a lot of hard work in to make sure tonight's event works successfully. And of course, I also want to express my great thanks to our friends here at the Streetsville Legion for agreeing to host us tonight. I think this is a very fitting location to hold a recognition event and award the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medals. Yesterday, I presented a Diamond Jubilee Medal to one of the recipients who could not join us tonight, Benjamin Pierce. He is celebrating with his family his mother's 90th birthday tonight. And I thought his mother's 90th birthday probably took a little bit of precedence. But he did come with his wife and his daughter yesterday to my office, and we had a nice little ceremony there. So please join me in congratulating Benjamin Pierce as well. And he has dedicated a long, long time of community service to this very Legion, and well-deserved. The new commemorative medal was created to mark the 2012 celebrations of the 60th anniversary of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's ascension to the throne as the Queen of Canada. The Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal is a tangible way for Canada to honor Her Majesty for her service to our country. And at the same time, it serves to honor significant contributions and achievements by Canadians. During the year of celebration, 60,000 deserving Canadians will be recognized, including the great 29 that we have here tonight. With respect to the medal you will receive tonight, the verse depicts a crowned image of the sovereign, in whose name the medal is bestowed. The reverse marks the 60th or diamond anniversary of the ascension to the throne of Her Majesty. The anniversary is expressed by the central diamond shape, by the background composed of a pattern of diamonds, and by the two dates. The royal cipher consists of the royal crown above the letters E-I-I-R, of course Elizabeth II Regina, the latter word meaning the Queen in Latin. The maple leaf leaves refer obviously to Canada, while the motto, Vivat Regina, means long live the Queen. And so tonight it gives me distinct honor as the Member of Parliament for Mississauga Streetsville to bestow upon you the Diamond Jubilee Medal and to personally thank you on behalf of all of the residents of this riding and of our community for your great service to our country. Congratulations to all, and I'll turn the proceedings back over to Mike.
So just to get the procedure down before we start, as I call your name for the recipients, if you please proceed up the stairs where Brad will present you with your medal and your certificate from the Governor General. And here we go. All right, we're now at the full house.
Just bring food left.
There's a man that looks like he came right from work there. So. And then we'll have the official photo, but if there's any family members out that would like to take a photo, we'll do it at that time. And then head back to your seats. At the end, we'd like all the medal recipients to come up and have a photo together with both our MP and our MPP. All right, so Brad, if I could ask you to go to the stage. Thanks, Billy. Our first recipient tonight is Mrs. Marion Bateman. She receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for distinguished and ongoing service to our community seniors through the founding and operation of Marion's SOS. Mr. Fred Kuzak is accepting the award tonight on her behalf because she was unable to attend due to surgery, and we wish her the very best for recovery. I present you, Mr. Fred Kuzak, on behalf of Mrs. Marion Bateman. Just so you know, Brad, Mr. Bateman said that you're free to take them out for lunch anytime. All right. Our next recipient is Mr. William Bateman. He receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his 20 years of service as the Streetsville Business Improvement Association's caretaker Ladies and gentlemen, I present you Mr. William Bacon.
I won't go into all of these because 2,000 boys and girls, largely boys, but occasionally girls, stole and mint or whatever it's called, and so on and so forth. And that's been one of the big activities in our life. I take them out doing work, and Marion spends time talking to them about what their future might be or might not be. And we're surprised at the number of boys in trouble and girls that have come back better off than what they heard in our place. I'm going to stop right there. There's lots more I could say. But that's our big achievement for 30 years, just under 2,000. Brad was there 10 years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Bacon. Our next recipient is Mr. David Bishop. Mr. Bishop is receiving the Diamond Jubilee Award for his lifelong commitment to charitable work, most notably with the St. John Ambulance. I present you Mr. David Bishop. Our next recipient is Mr. William Gary Bond. As a member of the Streetsville Legion since 1974 and president of the branch for the last 4 years, he receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for this long body of work with the Streetsville Legion. I present you Mr. Gary Bond. Our next recipient is Mr. George Carlson. Mr. Carlson receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his over 40 years of volunteer work with the Bread and Honey Festival, his 25 years as chair of the Streetsville Cadet Center, and for representing our community as a school board trustee and now as a city councilor. Mr. George Carlson. Our next recipient is Mr. Glenn Crawford. Mr. Crawford receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his work with the Mississauga-Meadowvale Rotary Club as its past president and as the assistant district governor. I present you Mr. Glenn Crawford. Our next recipient is Mr. James Dean Dookie. Mr. Dookie has held numerous positions as a community leader, both charitable, and is a bridge between business and communities around the world. He receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his volunteer service to our community. Mr. George Carlson. Our next recipient is Mr. Ralph Hunter. Mr. Hunter receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his work with the Streetsville Rotary Club, to which he's been a member of since 1969 and was past president, and his community work, including his time on the Police Services Board. Mr. George Carlson. Our next recipient is Mr. Balwinder Jandu. He receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his work with the Mississauga-Meadowvale Rotary Club. In many roles he's held with that organization, including as its current president. I present you Mr. Balwinder Jandu. Mr. George Carlson. Our next recipient is Mr. Bernard Jourdain. Mr. Jourdain receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his volunteer work with seniors in our community as the first Vice President of the United Senior Citizens of Ontario, Chair of Mississauga Seniors Council, and as President of the Meadowvale Senior Social Club. I present you Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient is Mr. Todd Ladner. Mr. Ladner receives his Diamond Jubilee Medal for his contribution to Streetsville as the chair of our BIA Board of Directors and for his efforts as committee chairman in raising over $1 million to refit the Kip Johnson Arena. Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient, Mr. Leonard Little. Mr. Little is receiving the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his ongoing efforts to fight juvenile diabetes as chair of the Peel region of JDRF, along with his numerous activities to help local charities. Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient is Mrs. Edith McEachran. Mrs. McEachran receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for over 25 years of dedicated service to enriching the lives of youth and leaders within Scouts Canada. I present to you Mrs. Edith McEachran. Our next recipient is Mrs. Sue McFadden. Mrs. McFadden receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for her work as past president of the Rotary Club of Mississauga Meadowvale and as the past chair and continuing member of Safe City Mississauga. She continued to serve our community now as a city councillor for the city of Mississauga. Our next recipient, Mrs. Veronica Miranda. Mrs. Miranda receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for over 15 years of volunteer work at the Mississauga Food Bank, as well as for her community work with the Food Bank's annual gala, its benefit concert, its Rib Fest, and with working with youth volunteers at the Food Bank every Wednesday night. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Mrs. Our next recipient is Mr. David Mosley. Mr. Mosley receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his contribution to our community as the president of the Bread and Honey Festival, a post which he has served in for the last 4 years. I present to you Mr. David Mosley. Our next recipient is Mrs. Lucy Muldoon. Mrs. Muldoon receives the Diamond Jubilee for her contribution to our community by bringing joy to Streetsville residents as the coordinator of the Mississauga Santa Claus Parade and the Bread and Honey Festival Parade. I present to you Mrs. Lucy. Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient is Mr. Gul Nawaz. Among Mr. Nawaz's many volunteer roles, he has raised substantial funds for the Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga and Brampton's William Ulster Health Center, as well as for earthquake victims in Pakistan, and arranged shipments of medications and other necessities to flood victims. He receives the Diamond Jubilee Award for these efforts. Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient is Captain Paul Preachus. Mr. Preachus has been awarded the medal for his service as an officer cadet with the 183rd Typhoon Squadron of Royal Canadian Air Cadets. I present to you Captain Preachus, Counselor. Mr. Rokerya. Our next recipient is Mr. Sri Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his involvement in creating links between business leaders around the world and the aim of creating jobs in Canada, and as the director of the Canadian Tamil Economic Forum. I present to you. Our next recipient is Mr. Gordon Terry Reeves. Mr. Reeves receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his work with the Streetsville Legion, in particular his efforts during Remembrance Day, in which he plays a key role in the Poppy campaign and the Streetsville Remembrance Day ceremony. He also runs the Friday barbecues at the Legion during the summer. Mr. George John. Except this Friday, you're supposed to go to Brad's this Friday. Our next recipient, Mr. Rafiq Rokerya. Mr. Rokerya receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his role as the founding leader of the Memon Association of Canada, a South Asian family education and counseling service that connects people in the South Asian community to resources such as family or individual counseling, crisis intervention, and the social and health services. I present to you Mr. Rafiq. Mr. George John. Our next recipient is Staff Sergeant Rafiq Saliba. Mr. Saliba receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his volunteer work with the Peel Children's Aid Foundation and for the Toys for Tots program, all while serving as Peel Regional Police Officer. We also wanted this photo. We should have had you stand down here, I think. Our next recipient is Mr. Peter Simonson. Mr. Simonson receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his work in preserving our military heritage as curator of the Queen's Own Rifle Regimental Museum and as the founder of the Ontario Military Vehicle Association. I present to you Mr. Peter Simonson. Our next recipient is Mrs. Nina Tangri. Mrs. Tangri receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for her years of work as a member of the Board of Directors of the Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga, where she chaired the Corporate and Human Resources Committees, as well as served on the Audit, Quality, and Performance, Ethics, and Resources Committees. I present to you Mr. George John. Our next recipient is Captain Lorraine Van Owen. Captain Van Owen receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for a lifelong commitment to the service of the Cadet Corps and for 14 years as a CIC officer. I present to you Captain Lorraine. Mr. George John. Our next recipient is Mr. Aspie Wadawala. Mr. Wadawala receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his efforts to forge economic and community ties with the South Asian community here in Mississauga, as well as being the Executive Director of the United Nations International Pageant Incorporated. I present to you Mr. Aspie. Our next recipient is Sergeant Brian Westlake. Sergeant Westlake receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for his years of community volunteer service, working with young people by coaching sports, throughout his work to raise funds for many charities, all while serving as a Peel Regional Police Officer. I present to you Mr. George John. And our final recipient tonight is Adana Helen Wilson. Mrs. Wilson receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal for her contribution as the Vice Chair of Safe City Mississauga and the founding member and executive of the Streetsville Residents Association. I present to you Dana Wilson. And now let's have a big round of applause for the mic back over to Brad. There is one more certificate we would like to present, and that's to Ms. Joy Talud, our singer this evening, who did just such a wonderful job. If you could, Mr. Rokerya.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much, Mike, for handling that flawlessly. Very much appreciated. How about one more round of applause for all our great Diamond Jubilee recipients? And I just want to say how great it is that so many of your family members and friends were able to come and join you tonight. We wanted to have a venue to do this so that you could share this award with your closest friends and family tonight and have them share in the experience. And just on that, we are obviously going to stick around. We have a reception. You can certainly get yourself a beer, wine, pop, whatever it is that you want over here. We've got some refreshments, so please stick around. Some of you may want to continue to get photographs with others or family or me or Mike, but probably more Sarah. And so we're here for a bit. Please don't rush off. Let's enjoy this very special occasion for all of you tonight. Just the final thing to say is, it's an honor and privilege to serve this community as your Member of Parliament. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for an MP to be able to present this kind of medal, because obviously we don't have too many, we've only had two, as a matter of fact, in the history of the world, monarchs who have celebrated their 60th or their Diamond Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth obviously being one of them, and Queen Victoria. So it's quite an honor for me in my first term as a Member of Parliament to be able to bestow these medals on the 29 of you so deserving individuals tonight. So thank you again, everybody, for coming. Please stick around and enjoy. I wanted to make sure this ceremony was done before Canada Day, so that as proud Canadians, you would have your Diamond Jubilee medal. I hope you have a wonderful Canada Day weekend with your family. If you're around on Friday at lunchtime, Terry won't want to hear this, but I'm having an MP Canada Day barbecue outside my office in Streetsville if you want to pop by. And Terry's coming. And just to celebrate and kick off a great Canada Day weekend, I think lots of you know that Mississauga, and in particular Streetsville, has some wonderful celebrations for Canada Day on Sunday. I look forward to seeing many of you there. But thanks again for being here. Congratulations once again to all of you. Very, very well deserved. It was my honor and my privilege to present you with this fine award. So thank you very much all for being here. Do we have any other housekeeping items? Right, we're going to do a group shot, so all the award recipients, if you can come to the front, we'll do a group shot with myself, Bob.
मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती है, बहुत खुशी हुई है कि अल्लाह ताला का मैं लाख लाख शुक्र अदा करती हूँ कि मेरे बेटे को अल्लाह ताला ने यह अवार्ड दिलाया। आपके बड़ी मेहरबानी और करम है, और अल्लाह ताला हयाती तंदुरुस्त दे, हमेशा बच्चे को पढ़ने का साया सलामत रखे, आगे भी अल्लाह ताला तरक्की करे। मेरी माँ, बूढ़ी माँ की दुआ इनके साथ है, सदा रहेगी। किसका अवार्ड मिला? हाँ, ये तो बोल
क्वीन की तरफ से जो मेडल मिला, रानी क्वीन रानी की तरफ से।
मैं मेरे बेटे को रफ़ीक रोकरिया को रानी की तरफ से अवार्ड मिला, मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई। मेरे मुक़द्दर में इतनी बड़ी उम्र में कहाँ ये अल्लाह ने मुझे दिखाया, इसका करोड़ एहसान है, लाखों लाखों करोड़ एहसान है, बड़ी खुशी है। अल्लाह मेरे सारी बारी को आबाद रखे, न हयाती तंदुरुस्ती दे, न साया सर पे सलामत बच्चों को रखे, मेरे बेटा की बहू का सबका।
We're really proud of our father and thrilled that he's a Pakistani getting this medal. We're very proud of our dad.
Yes, we love him.
Congratulations, Dad. We love you.
हमको बड़ी खुशी है कि हमारे पापा को ये कम्युनिटी सर्विस के अवार्ड मिले आज.
We're really thrilled that our father is getting this award for community service as a Pakistani.
As the first Pakistani.
We're really thrilled and proud that my father is getting this award out of 500,000 Pakistanis for his community service, and we're very proud that he's getting the Queen Diamond Jubilee Award. Congratulations, Dad.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm very proud that my husband Rafiq Rokerya is one of the recipients of the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Award. He's got a medal for all his community work and all the important work he has done for the Canadians in Canada for the past 30 years. I wish him all the best, and I wish that he will be able to do more for the Canadians and everybody else. And it's a very proud moment for us. We're very proud of him. We take a lot of pride, and inshallah we'll do as much as we can, especially my husband. He has proved himself, and I'm sure he will keep up the good work. Thank you.
My name is Brad Budd, and I'm the Member of Parliament for Mississauga-Streetsville, and it's been my great honor tonight to present 29 great citizens of my community with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Award, including Rafiq Rokerya, who has done a great amount of work, not only in our community but internationally, and certainly has been a very strong supporter, as I am, of great relations between Canada and Pakistan, and all of the great Pakistani Canadians who have made such a major contribution to our community. So, Rafiq, on behalf of the Governor General and the Prime Minister, congratulations on this great award, which you richly deserve.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Hello. To all the viewers out there, I'd like to say hello, and I'd like to say Sasrikar, Namaskar, or Assalamu Alaikum. I want to congratulate all the recipients of today's Diamond Jubilee Award. It's been a wonderful evening. The reception's been fine, and all the recipients have been so wonderful. I'd like to thank our Member of Parliament, Brad Butt, for giving us these certificates and awards and medals. It's been such a wonderful evening. We're enjoying it so much. And thank you to all of you that make all this possible. Good evening and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Assalamu alaikum to my Pakistani community. I'm grateful to the Government of Canada and our Member of Parliament, Brad Butt, for giving me this honor of giving me an award for Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee today at the Legion Hall in Mississauga. I'm really grateful to all of you. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. आज it's a great honor. आज बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि क्वीन एलिज़ाबेथ सेकंड की डायमंड जुबली के मौके पर मुझे मेरी कम्युनिटी सर्विस को सराहा गया है, और जो भी अचीवमेंट मैंने कनाडा में की हैं, बीइंग एज अ कैनेडियन और पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन, मुझे गवर्नर जनरल की तरफ से मेडल आज मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट स्ट्रीट्सविल ने मुझे दिया है, जिसमें मिसिसागा के तकरीबन 29 खुशनसीब लोग थे, जिसमें मैं सिर्फ पाकिस्तानी हूँ जिसको ये मेडल दिया गया है। और बड़ी खुशी और मसरत की बात है कि मेरे बचपन का दोस्त साबिर गावे मेरे साथ मौजूद है, और मेरी वालदा जो 95 ईयर्स ओल्ड हैं, और मेरी बेगम और मेरी 3 बच्चियाँ माशाल्लाह, उन सब ने बड़ी खुशी के साथ और प्राइड के साथ इस ऑनर को कबूल किया है। और जो भी कम्युनिटी सर्विस मैंने की हैं, आज मुझे उसका जो है मुतमईन हूँ मैं कि मैंने जो कुछ भी यहाँ पे कम्युनिटी से लिया, कम्युनिटी से सीखा, और वो अब मैंने वापस दिया है कम्युनिटी को, ताकि एक लेगेसी रहे और सोशल वर्क और कम्युनिटी और जो भी हमारे इश्यूज़ हैं उस मसलों को हम हमेशा ऑन गोइंग बेसिस पर रिज़ॉल्व करते रहें और उसका सलूशन निकालते रहें, ताकि आने वाली जो हमारी पाकिस्तानी कौम है कनाडा के अंदर, उनको मुश्किलात ना हों, और अगर मुश्किलात हों तो किसी इस किस्म के ऐसे सेंटर्स हों जो उनकी मुश्किलात और उनके प्रॉब्लम को रिज़ॉल्व करें और उनको एक सीधे पाथ पर डालें। जहाँ पर कुछ लोग आते हैं जो माइग्रेट करते हैं बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट और एम्प्लॉयमेंट वीज़ा और बिज़नेस वीज़ा पर, और उनको पता नहीं होता किस तरीके से क्या शुरू किया जाए। जैसे आई एम एम्बेसडर ऑफ CGA प्रोग्राम, उनको बताया जाता है कि फ़ास्ट ट्रैक कैसे किया जाए, किस तरीके से एम्प्लॉयमेंट ली जाए और बेहतरीन بہت ساری کمیونٹی سروسز یہاں پہ درکار ہیں اور ہم سب کو مل کر قومی یکجہتی کو مل کر اور ہم پاکستانی قوموں کو سب کو مل کر ہماری اپنی کمیونٹی آنے والی کمیونٹی اور ہمارے بچوں کے بارے میں سوچنا چاہیے اور ایک ایسے سینٹر کا قیام کرنا چاہیے جو روزمرہ کے جو مسئلے ہیں سوشل اکنامکس فائنینشیل ان کو ریزالو کیا جائے اور ایز اے کمیونٹی ہم بیٹھ کر ہم سب مل کر سر جوڑ کر اس کا مسئلہ حل کریں. تھینک یو. السلام علیکم.